Lease negotiation is an extremely important part of the business. So often people jump in and decide they're going to rent a space or lease a space, and they don't even have a clear understanding what their model is. And so, going back to that idea of flow, you need to think really, really hard about what your business model is, have a menu that reflects that business model, and then only then, I think, then start looking at space. Too often restaurateurs the advice that lawyers will give them is to sign the smallest rent period possible in case things go badly. And there is a real truth to that. But there's the opposite thing too. What if things go well, right? And you've only signed a 3 or 5 year term. Well, the landlord's going to turn around and really jack up the rent. So I think that the key is to make sure you do your homework and make sure you got your business model and be willing to sign a somewhat longer initial lease term. Definitely in my mind over 5 years, maybe 7, 10, but then definitely pre-negotiate extensions past that. So, maybe a 7 or 8 year lease with 2 5-year rights of renewal, et cetera, et cetera. What's the role of managing food and liquor costs and labor costs and all of that? It's huge. And it's not like $10 bills are just laying around on the ground. Pennies are laying around on the ground. And you've got to figure out, how can I, pick up those pennies on the ground and put them in my pocket without negatively affecting the customer's experience. And that's one of the things that I see a lot, is that people will say, oh, my food costs are so high. Well, instead of taking a look at their waste, instead of taking a look at their preparation and how they utilize, they say, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 8-ounce filet and I'm going to instead serve 6 ounces, but I'm going to charge the same price. Well, you know what? The customer sniffs that out really, really quick. And I think that's a disaster. I am amazed at how many people I talk to that don't do inventory. It's crazy to me. I mean, having entered into this business with no experience at all, the thing that I was pretty adamant on is, hey, we got to do inventory. I only have positive views about human nature, but I understand that if a bunch of people start figuring out that nobody's actually keeping score, and guess what? You're going to have some stuff walking out the door. And maybe it won't be as blatant as, boxes of shrimp and a frying pan, which I found 3 months after I was open. I literally found a box of shrimp and a frying pan and a pound of butter in a bush outside my service entrance, Maybe it won't be that blatant, but it's definitely going to walk out the door, and you need to be careful on that for sure. Weekly inventories minimum, absolutely, on everything.